Hey, this is Jake with Keller Williams. Some of you know, some of you don't. We are the parents of an autistic toddler. I'm going to show you how to take a very small space and convert it into something that will help them and give you some peace of mind that something good is happening in their physiology, even though you can't see it. As a lot of people know, the autistic community, the kids especially, the things that they need most are sometimes the hardest things to get them. Things like fruits and vegetables in their diet. Our son, he likes to come outside and basically play in the dirt. Literally, like, just he'll be walking through a gravel parking lot and stop a quick second, just picks up a handful of rocks just to drop them. One of the best things for him is going to be actually getting ground contact. This is our front door. We've got a little kind of paved walkway right here. But this is, oddly, this is just the area that he's coming and picking up rocks, and he'll go over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to funnel his creative energies into one space. So what I'm going to do first, you can kind of see I've got this layer of crush and run. You can get this at Home Depot. It's typically called like masonry sand or M10 or stuff like that, paver sand. It's gray. It looks like a bunch of crushed up granite gravel because it's a bunch of crushed up granite gravel. So you just probably need a bag, maybe two. You don't need especially if you're going to do a very small area. First thing I did was I just kind of leveled it. So I took this hand tamper. You don't need one of these. You can use your feet. You can use a rake and just kind of get it, level enough. Heck, you can get down on your hands and knees and just use your hands. So I'm going to do that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I show you my components here. So I've got just scrap electrical wire. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that. I've got tar paper over here. This is just scrap tar paper I have. If you don't have this, you can get newspapers. It's a creative, maybe like autistic friendly sandbox. Because what I don't want is I don't want a bunch of sand getting tracked in the house. But what I do want is I want him to have good ground contact right here. That even if it's not that long, he gets a good dose of earth while he's here. So I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do. So you can see I've kind of got this area smoothed out. If you don't have all these materials, you really don't need all of them. I'm just going to show you what I'm doing. So this is some scrap roofing felt, tar paper, and this isn't going to be a fail-safe solution. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take maybe about 8-10 inches of this roofing felt, cut this and line the edge over here where this is going to tie into my little sandbox. And then I'm going to use this. So this is like cheap weed block fabric. And the reason I'm going to use this is because, one, I want this area to drain. I would just encourage you, if you don't have this, get paper grocery bags, newspapers. I mean, you can get cardboard. I mean, really anything. The goal is we're going to try to keep this area as weed free and pest free as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line this real quick. So if you're doing it on a windy day like I am, just use some rocks that you got around just to kind of keep this in place. All right, so I've got this area just lined around the perimeter. Again, not fail safe, but it's good enough. And then I'm going to take this, depending on your soil or your weed growth in your area. I know this is like super cheap. I mean, I think I paid, I think it was like $14 for like 100 feet of this. I got it at one of the like discount, like not the dollar stores. I don't think they sell this, but like super discount places. And so it's fine if it's cheap because this is kind of perfect for what we're doing here. So I'm going to put 2 layers of this down. That's going to be enough that it will deter most everything from coming up. All right, so I've got my layers down. You can see it's not perfect, but it's good enough. And if you have side staples, if you really want to do it right, get some side staples, and that'll help hold this in. I don't have any, and this is kind of a project. I'm not trying to go buy anything that I don't need to buy. And so basically what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put just enough of this crush and run. So So I've got a wheelbarrow full of this stuff. So it's just, you know, gray masonry sand. I'm just going to put this down just to be enough that it's going to be a pretty much smooth surface. It's going to keep this down, but I'm not going to cover it entirely. So you'll still be able to see this when I'm done. So you can see I've got it just smoothed out, tamped down a little bit. Again, you can just use your feet for this if you don't have anything to kind of tamp it down. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my piece of rebar. This is a leftover piece of rebar they had at the house. I don't even know where it was from. But basically, I'm just going to drive this into the ground. You can use a hammer, a rock, a sledgehammer, or whatever. But I'm going to drive it in the ground. I'm going to do this up here, kind of like where the camera is positioned at the front porch. It really just needs to be in the ground, but I want to put it somewhere where it's not going to be a tripping hazard, which is why I'm not going to put it out here in this area. So I'm going to drive this into the ground, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, which is my leftover Romex electrical wire, and all of these, it doesn't really matter the gauge that you use. All of these basically have 3 copper wire strands in them. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wire coating off, this white coating off, and get the copper wire exposed, and then we're going to cover it. And what this is going to do is going to do a couple things. One, I've not tried this myself, but I've seen it all over the internet, that the copper will actually deter a lot of insects and pests. So it's kind of like a natural insect repellent without it being dangerous or intrusive to anybody's health or anything like that. The other thing it's going to do is this is going to help the ionosphere, or whatever you want to call it, the electrical charge grounding of this area be as good as possible. Which again, he's going to literally sit here and just play in the sand and pick up rocks and do that sort of thing here. And he's basically going to be sitting on like the best grounding mat that has ever been made, and I'm doing it pretty much for free. So that's about where I want my grounding rod, which again, I'm just using a piece of rebar, and you can see it's probably 3-4 inches above the soil. You can see my kind of rat's nest here of this wire. So because I had such a long piece of scrap, I'm actually just going to use with the one that's already stripped of the coating. So this is the grounding wire for your Romex wire. So it's pretty much ready to go. And basically, I'm just going to wrap this around here. All right, so you can see I've got my wire just kind of laid out in just kind of a lazy loop. The contact with the ground is the most important thing. What we're doing at this point is just kind of ramping that up as much as we can. So I've got these concrete nails. So if you don't know what they look like this. They're very blunt, which is why I want to use these, because I don't want anything sharp in this area. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull the length that I've got between the nails, and I'm just going to pull it as tight as I can and just kind of press it in the ground. And then I'm going to just take my sledgehammer and push it in. The reason these are good is because they've got a little lip at the top, but they're blunt. So if somebody steps on them, it's not going to go through their foot. They'll know it's there, but it's not going to like stab them. And this will keep the wire kind of anchored to the ground. Basically what I'm going to do around the around my loop here. So as riveting as that is watching me do it, I'm just going to do that, and then we're going to come back. So you can see it's probably a foot between my runs here, but I just got 2 passes and they're anchored down just like so. That one's kind of in the dirt, you can't really see that, but basically just 1 loop around the top of the nail and holds it pretty tight in the ground. So now that I got my wire in, basically I'm going to put another layer of this just on top of the wire, basically enough that I probably cover the wire by at least a ½ inch or so. Small thing, if you have a child who's a digger, like they're going to be trying to dig like through this, Good idea to reverse the where you have the wire and your landscape fabric, your weed blocker. Put the wire underneath so that they're not pulling up your wire and kind of undoing that. It'll be much harder to get through if you've got a weed blocker there. So you can see we've got our extra layer down, the wire's all covered. Now I'm gonna cover this with, you can use whatever you want. You can use play sand, you can use pool filter sand, which is a little bit different. They're gonna have some great grounding, earthing contact, and everything gets better when we get back to the basics of how life used to be for all of us. So this is what it looks like. You can see it's the sand I used was pool filter sand. So I don't like the play sand because it always feels wet. That's the like the kind of tan looking sand. Pool filter sand, so you can get this at your hardware stores, pool supply places, whatever. It's a much lighter sand. It's not quite like you know, fluffy white beach sand, but it's much better than the typical, you know, play sand. So I use that. I used some organic soil conditioner, or you can just use organic potting soil. You can do whatever you want here, honestly. So a couple small things, just as like final chapter. So you can see around the side. So I put a couple plants that are natural insect deterrents. So rosemary and thyme, oregano, mint, any of those kind of cooking herbs. A lot of insects just kind of can't stand them. So they're a natural deterrent. They smell really good. So when they're out here and, you know, it's kind of in season for the particular herbs, you'll have a little bit of that smell, and that's just, you know, smells good. If you can't do this, or don't have a place to do this, or you just want to go kind of an extra level of trying to keep this as insect and bug free, you know, you don't want your kids getting a bunch of insect bites while they're out here getting good grounding, is use essential oils. So our go-tos are like peppermint, eucalyptus, and lemongrass. So lemongrass, I think, is the world's best insect deterrent. So just, you know, maybe before, or maybe just do it kind of on a weekly thing. Just, you know, 10, 12 drops of oil just kind of mixed around. As you do that and it stays there, the insects will naturally just stay away from this area that has smells and flavors that are not, you know, what they like. So that will help. It'll smell really good in the process. Not going to be, there's nothing harmful about it at all to your kids. And then if you want to go an extra level, this is Diatomaceous earth. So I cannot remember for the life of me why we bought this years ago. It's really good for you. It's really good for a lot of things. It's also good for pest deterrents, for the microorganisms. But you can just mix this in with your soil, and like only good things can happen from it. It's perfectly safe. This is food grade, so you know, if they like to eat sand or dirt or whatever, it's not going to hurt them. It'll probably actually help them. But literally, this is the last thing I'm going to do. I'm just going to mix this in. Our son has come home the last couple of days from school and literally runs to this. So I think it's a combination of he likes doing this. I think it's a sensory and a texture thing, but it's also we have noticed like his body is naturally attracted to things that help him, that he physically feels like are helping him, even though he can't communicate it to us. So I think this is going to be an area that we hang out a lot. And yeah, I hope that helps. If there's any other suggestions, if you're just struggling with how do I get, you know, some good things in my child's life, we have been through it all. Maybe not all of it, but we've been through a lot of trial and error and what works. If you've not seen any of our social media before, we actually have went from our child who was typical, you know, special needs, where he was only eating like 4 or 5 things, to eating like 12 ingredient superfood salads. Like he will eat so much more now. And we went through a very like methodical process of how we went from square one of we can't get anything other than ketchup in his mouth, and you know, chicken nuggets, to now literally he will have a salad that a lot of adults wouldn't be eating, because it's so many different flavor combinations. Is super good for him, and we're happy to help however we can. Hey, if videos like this are helpful for you, go ahead and hit subscribe. I try to do a lot of things that are ways to save your money, help you get better, healthier. Did I say save money? Save money. And just improve life, not just give you a bunch of doom and gloom or scare tactics or things like that that a lot of online YouTube realtors are doing. I don't think that's helpful for anybody, and that's what I want to do. Just want to help as many people as I can. Hey, like everything, we've got some outtakes coming up, and if there's anything else you would like videos on that we can help you with, just send us a message. It's literally like Pigpen, like we are raising Pigpen. I know, like how many times is he going to change his clothes? This is the last one. It'll help keep the profanity to a manageable level. He's a official man-child right now. I don't really know that I need a little antenna there, but I like it. It looks like science, but not, you know, dirt. It's probably a terrible angle. If you get motion sickness, I'm sorry. Maybe, probably not even that. Life hack, trickeration on, you know, mud bogging, detrimental to your furniture, but that's pretty much it.